Joining us now is Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, OG.
Good morning, Dr.
I like this, your dress.
I like it too. You turned up today in origami.
What is the color?
Like the Japanese. This is like a blue, but I'm not sure. It's not a cornflower. It's a blue.
Blue it is.
Yeah, but I love the origami little detail.
Ojinika.
Hi, Dr. Abati.
I see your stylist is raising the level of the swag.
He is. He's doing so well.
Stylist doesn't
Shout
play.
out to IK.
I don't have one. OG, you're
I'll
a very
get you
bad
one.
friend.
I'll hook you up.
You know I'm old school. I
I'll
like to
hook
do
you
things
up.
myself.
I know. Well, we'll figure it out.
I
Don't worry.
probably need a stylist too.
Yes, you do.
So that
For
it's
sure.
not only...
OG tells you your color, situation.
OG and Ijoma,
Yes,
the two of them,
exactly.
dress like this, wear
Yes.
this color, sit like this.
Okay,
They're on
just
top
get
of
rid
it.
of your black for a while. That's all we
They don't
care
like
about.
when you wear black.
Good morning, Rufai. How are you?
Oji, you know, your style is so dapper, I say maintain the status quo. That's all I'll say. And
You're awesome.
Speaking of origami, Tundu, I still make very good origamis, you know. I could do an art craft.
Can you make me a swan?
Yeah, I'll try. I can I can make an aeroplane, I can make a boat origami. I do very good paper origamis. Yeah.
Good job, Rufai. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the highlights of what's trending across the globe. In the UK, newly released photos of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex announcing they're expecting a second child has drawn criticism from British tabloids and from controversial TV host Piers Morgan. While in Ghana, photos of students wearing uniforms made with the African print Ankara flood social media as the nation introduces the indigenous print into their educational system. While in entertainment, the soundtrack of Coming to America 2 has been announced, and it features top Nigerian artists, Techno, Tiwa Savage, and Larry Gaga. Well, finally, social media is abuzz for the first woman and first African to head the World Trade Organization. Dr. NgoziOkonjo-Iweala tops the trend as Nigerians celebrate her historic feat. I cannot help but dance along. Well, let's begin by congratulating the new Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. NgoziOkonjo-Iweala, who was confirmed yesterday to head the organization. While social media has been flooded with congratulatory messages, her historic feat has also made headlines across mainstream media. However, before her appointment was announced, a headline from news organization Reuters, which described her as a no-nonsense Nigerian woman to be named boss in double first for WTO, has garnered mixed reactions from many Nigerians on social media. Tundu, I don't know if you saw this particular headline, but we saw all the other headlines as well. But this particular headline really, made a lot of Nigerians upset because they did not mention her name. I mean, why would they leave out her name and just put her picture up there?
It's shocking. I think this headline for me is as bad as the flamboyant Akinwumi additional. Remember that gaffe? This one for me is right down there. They diminish her when they don't use her name. I'm sorry. It's not. I don't find no nonsense as an epithet offensive at all. I think it's actually, it can be complimentary, sort of brisk, really efficient, but she has a name. And she also did not characterize herself as no nonsense in this context. She's coming in as a bridge builder, really emphasizing teamwork. So it's just a really jarring note in the whole process. It should have been more celebrated as a historic event that it was, instead of just describing her so flippantly, I feel.
Yes, Dr. Abati.
Well, I seem to have a slightly different opinion. I mean, Reuters in the last 24, 48 hours will have published more than 10, 15 stories about NgoziOkonjo-Iweala, the new WTO Director General. This is the only one that was spotted by Nigerian commentators and others who objected to it. And in all the other stories that I have seen, there have been different ideas, but her name was specifically mentioned. Sometimes sub-editors, when they cast headlines, they think not just out of the box, they stay on top of the box. But I know that some of the journalists who will react will say that, well, when you cast headlines, you don't express an opinion because facts, opinion is free, facts are sacred. That is the rule. So when you cast headline, when you report news, you take out your opinion. But when you say no-nonsense woman, you are expressing an opinion. But we've had instances when, the editor will decide to say something dramatic in the headline. The most famous that we have had in that regard in Nigeria is Babatunde Joseph, Papa Babatunde Joseph, now of blessed memory, leading the Daily Times with a headline in the First Republic titled Akintola Taku. It was not only in Yoruba language, it was also something dramatic. And that in itself drew a lot of attention, and that's one of the best-selling editions of the Daily Times at that time, when there was crisis in the Western region. So it's not something that happens all the time, and the fact that people are talking about this particular headline out of a series of stories that have been done by Reuters in the last 48 hours just perhaps confirms the intention of the sub-editor who wrote that headline. However, the second leg of it is that no-nonsense woman, I don't think is derogatory. Even in our own environment here, when they say somebody is a no-nonsense woman, it's seen as a term of endearment. It's seen as, a compliment. And for those who know Dr. NgoziOkonjo-Iweala very well, she's truly a no-nonsense woman. When we were in government, I recall that she was compared often to the finance minister of Côte d'Ivoire. The two of them were known as Dr. No, because you can't just come and submit any claim before those two ministers of finance. And the two of them were very good friends. So even in cabinet, they refer to her as a doctor. They say, don't mind that, she's Dr. No, because she will not approve anything, unless she's very sure that it follows the rules. And that's the attitude that she has advertised as what will be our objective. She says, for example, in her acceptance speech, that it will no longer be business as usual at the WTO. So that's like saying, look, a new broom is coming in to clean up this place. She has also said that she's going to clear the eyes of WTO. If you are going to clear the eyes of the WTO, it means that you are bringing change, you are bringing reform. So in every regard, she's a no-nonsense woman, in my view. And you could see that yesterday when she gave her acceptance speech, she was very assertive, she was clear, she was confident. In fact, I've never seen her that assertive and confident before, and I was very proud of her. So I join others in congratulating her. I don't want to worry about Reuters' headline. The more important thing is the achievement, and she herself, I don't think, will be bothered about a headline at this moment. She's been very media savvy, and I know that she has worked, she knows how, the media works. And you will see that in the course of her career or tenure as a WTO Director General. That this is not just a development economist, a trade expert, a skilled negotiator, but somebody who also understands how the media works.
Oh, what if they called her no-nonsense Nigerian woman, Dr. NgoziOkonjo-Iweala? That's the conversation.
Yes.
Well, you can't write headlines for sub-editors.
I want to worry very strongly about what Reuters did, and I think it's appalling. Yes. This is colonialism 2.0. I am upset that the foreign media keeps doing this to Africans. We can't succeed. They will try to pull us down and tag us. So I want to worry about it strongly. I'll give you two cases. Number one, the man that is the president of Gambia now. I remember when he became president then, a British newspaper wrote a very damning headline. It said, former Argos security man becomes president of African nation. How do you say that to a man that has become president? He was just a security man in Argos for a point in time in his life. This is annoying. The West can't keep on doing this. CNBC too did the same yesterday. Very damning headlines. Look at the Japanese journalist that was asking her during the presser that what are people saying about your capacity to run the job? This is a woman that has done so well in foreign trade. You are still questioning her capacity. You guys wake up in the West. We are there. Nigerians are there. No matter what you want to do, go and cast your headlines anywhere you want to cast it. Nigerians are there and we are here to stay. And we celebrate her for what she done. We celebrate her dressing. Go and deal with it.
Yes, that was another thing that was trending. There was an NgoziOkonjo-Iweala challenge. All the young girls are all dressing now like her on social media. It's so beautiful.
Dr. Abati mentioned that
earlier.
Great.
What they called NY goes to WTO challenge.
It's beautiful.
With the women with the
yes.
headgears. But when I comment on headline casting and all that, I speak as a man who was an editor.
Yes.
You know, for more than 20 years, and whose job it was to cast headlines.
Yes.
So it's a professional thing. I will not sit here and just condemn, you know, what I do not see as racism, obvious racism.
Right. Well, that takes us to our next story, which has caught the attention of media houses in Nigeria. On Monday, a bill sponsored by lawmaker Francis Agbo, seeking to raise the minimum qualification for journalists in the country to a bachelor's degree or a higher national diploma in journalism, made the rounds on social media. The bill, which has passed first reading and is slated for a second reading at the House of Representatives, provides that anyone seeking to practice journalism in Nigeria must hold a first degree, higher national diploma certificate, or its equivalent in journalism, media, art, or communications. The bill also states that individuals with a background in any other course must, within 5 years, obtain a postgraduate certificate in journalism. Tundu, up to you. I mean, does the Senate have the right to dictate or to legislate a profession?
Well, I don't think that they do. And I think that the ill that they're trying to cure is related to this very tense moment that we're living in now, with all kinds of citizen journalists, as professional journalists cannot, like the bane of the lives of professional journalists is the citizen journalists, really whipping up people into a frenzy of hatred and mistrust. So I understand that they're trying to curb that problem, but this is not the way to go about it, I don't feel. In democratic governments across the world, journalism is the only profession that's protected by the Constitution, and it speaks to the freedom of press in more ways than one. That freedom also relates to the freedom of anybody to shine a light on any topic that they feel that they want to, as long as they are factual. So I take their points that there's a lot of media ethics and media law that a lot of citizen journalists, they gloss over that. And they act in a way that is unprofessional. So a course or something could be beneficial. But at the same time, those who point fingers should understand that for pointing back at them. Because in the Senate, we have our Constitution that allows them to sit there in the National Assembly, even in the presidency, with just a school cert qualification. No. I would suggest that it's more important to pass a bill making it mandatory for anybody aspiring to political office to have some kind of qualification in civic education, in constitutional law, because a lot of them have no idea. That, to me, is what is more important here.
Right. Well, Dr. Abati, before we take your point, I guess we'll have to go on a short break, and when we come back, what's trending on the morning show? We'll continue. Welcome back to the morning show. We're still on What's Trending. Tundu, before we went on a break, I believe you wanted to list all the journalists.
Just a few. I don't want to take up too much time. Some journalists that don't, not only do they not have degrees in journalism, they don't have degrees at all. Includes the legend, the Pulitzer Prize winning Carl Bernstein. He did not graduate from any university. Neither did Walter Cronkite. The lexicologist, William Safire. And I don't know how Rufai sits through Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity doesn't have a degree. Rush Limbaugh doesn't have a degree.
Please forget about
it. Yeah, but they're huge.
Not his fan.
Neither am I. Which is why I said I don't know how Rufai can watch Fox News. But there's so many of them. I just had to make that point. Nina Tottenberg of NPR, she doesn't have a degree.
Quickly, I don't know how much time you'll give me.
I'll give you 5 minutes. How about that?
I can tell the whole story on this. The whole point about, you know, a media bill, amendment of the Press Council bill, is about sanitizing the journalism profession in Nigeria. And it comes from the background of the fact that you see that architects in Nigeria are organized. They have a proper guild. Medical doctors, they have a register. So this whole conversation started as part of an attempt to create a register, a professional register for journalists. I was part of that conversation in the early 90s. I recall it was a Ojo of the media rights agenda who tried first in collaboration with some international agencies to come up with a media bill. What was our concern at that time? One, to sanitize the profession. Second, to make sure that conditions of service favor the journalist. Because, even then there was the issue about publishers and media owners not paying salaries. And, that bill, as proposed at that time, as put together, as drafted, talked about the compulsory payment of salaries for journalists. Insurance was also an issue we looked at. And then there was also something about whoever wants to become an editor must at least have had at least 15 years of experience and must not be a charlatan. Because you look at the media, even before social media, there were editors who do not even read the newspapers that they produce or who do not read anything other than the pages that they edit. So there was concern that standards should be raised. However, this whole issue became a big issue when Abike Dabiri, who was representing the Ikorodu Federal Constituency, proposed a bill in, I think, 2004 about the Practice of Journalism Enhancement Bill. I think that was what she called it. And that was supposed to repeal, amend the Press Council Act of 1992. And it was a very controversial bill. Because there were provisions in that bill, as proposed by Abike Dabiri, that were even more draconian than the social media bill. It was, that bill was talking about how people should report conflict, what should be done to journalists who are sensational, and of course, that caused a lot of controversy, both within the profession and within the community. Now, this latest attempt by this particular lawmaker to bring back a similar bill is also bound to be controversial. Here, the issue is not about how you do the work, it's about qualification, right? And this gentleman is saying, oh, you have to be a graduate of journalism before you can practice the profession. That is going to be very controversial. First, within the industry, there is no agreement about the Press Council law in itself, because the Press Council, the National Press Council, was established by the Nigerian government. It's an organ of government. And journalists over the years have always said, look, government cannot regulate us, whether you are talking about qualification or you are talking about how we do our job. And that was why at some point, the Ombudsman was created, first led by Aj Alade Odunwewu, to say, if journalists have issues, they can regulate themselves. We have the NUJ, we have the NGE, we have the BON, we have the existing organs. So this bill is also not likely to fly. However, to the substantive issue, journalism is not like other professions. It's a profession whereby different kinds of expertise come together. I'll give you an example. At The Guardian, in those days, the man who was reporting housing was not necessarily a journalist. The guy had a master's in architecture, but he was the one reporting it. At a point, the man reporting science, Okonjo-Iweala, was a scientist. His degree was in science, not in journalism. The man reporting agriculture, Dr. Iweala, he was not a journalist. He had a PhD in agriculture. Now, the whole idea of bringing to the newsroom different forms of expertise is that you bring people in, they learn the craft, because journalism is also a craft, and then they enrich what is offered to the public. If a PhD holder in agriculture is reporting agriculture, he will understand the language, because there's something about the nuance of reporting.
There's a point there.
So it's very difficult to say only graduates of mass comm or related degrees can be in the newsroom. The newsroom is I won't say it's a democratic space, but it's a place that can accommodate, different levels of expertise. And I think journalism, either here in Nigeria or elsewhere, has been greatly enriched by the multidisciplinary nature of the newsroom. And the more multidisciplinary that the newsroom is, the better the quality of the newspaper.
Good point, Dr. Abati. Rufai, before I come to you, we'll take our final story in the UK. the new photos taken by Nigerian photographer Misan Harriman of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry and Meghan, announcing that they are expecting a second child, has raised eyebrows, with many criticizing the announcement as a publicity stunt. British controversial TV host Piers Morgan tagged the announcement via Twitter as cheesy, stating that the photo was released to ensure that the media gives the story about their private life more prominence. Well, according to him, their action is manipulative and proves that they don't want privacy. Rufai, I know I would love to come to you with this story because, wait, do they really want privacy? I mean, what is all of this about? And even in Nigeria, when you're pregnant, sometimes you hide your pregnancy, right, for a while.
No, but this case is different. This is Meghan. This is Meghan and Harry. They are an institution, and let's not run away from that. Who I have a problem with is with Piers Morgan. I have a big problem with Piers Morgan. I mean, no offense, he's done well for himself. It's not easy to be an editor on the Fleet Street at the age of 27. He was editor of a national daily at the age of 27. That was a big one. I respect him for that. But I think Piers should shut up, honestly. He should shut up, honestly. You're banging on and on about how you used to be very good friends with Meghan all this while. It just looks like sour grapes to me. Whatever they do with their life, just shut up. Get out of their business. If Daily Mail is going to sell papers from that, Daily Mail should sell papers from them. And Piers should just shut up. Because that's how he runs his mouth every day, even on Good Morning Britain.
He called Harry a Bigfoot.
You get
what? Yes.
Yeah, he does it every time. And you see, Piers thinks he has the legitimacy of opinion, and that's why what's his name, the billionaire, the former owner of Tottenham, Alan Sugar, always shuts him down because it's like, Piers, you have a big mouth. You think they have the monopoly of opinion, but you don't know jack nothing. Fix your own. Piers, I can start talking about your failed marriage.
Oh, God,
I shouldn't go
Why
there.
on earth would you?
So stop talking about other people's own peers. It's all right. It's enough. Please, don't do that, peers. Just leave these people alone. I know Meghan used to be your friend before. She's no longer your friend.
Oh, goodness.
Just let it be.
I think they always talk about wanting privacy. They even sued for privacy. So this looks a bit odd. Until you think maybe they want privacy on their own terms.
Right.
So they want to be private when they want to be, and otherwise no. But I'm hoping that they shine a light on baby loss and rainbow babies. There's so much despair around having a miscarriage or a stillborn. So this is such a beautiful story to show that a rainbow baby can come and just heal you, and I think a lot of women will find some kind of inspiration.
Well, just so you know, Tundu, they already did a 90-minute Tell It All with Oprah Winfrey.
I don't like the Tell It All.
No, they haven't done it. It's scheduled for March.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They're doing it, Dr. Abati.
They should talk about themselves.
They want privacy, Dr. Abati?
About themselves.
Anyway, no time for me to comment further.
All right,
sorry. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Abati. See you guys tomorrow.